After waking up, the woman found herself in an unfamiliar bed. What shocked her even more was that lying next to her was a handsome man with an 8-pack abs. The man kept insisting he was her dear husband. Little did she know he was her biggest enemy before she lost her memory, and now he was lying next to her in her bed. Strangely, instead of running away, the woman didn't hesitate. She threw herself into his arms without a second thought. She even began rubbing her face against his firm abs, leaving a trail of drool on them. Waking up to find a handsome guy as her husband? What a stroke of luck. She wasn't going to waste it and was going to enjoy it to the fullest. When Li Yuan woke up in the hospital room, she found that she had lost all her memories. Before she could even gather her bearings, she was suddenly attacked by a mysterious assailant. Using the muscle memory her body retained, she managed to dodge the first wave of attacks and was preparing to counterattack. To her surprise, the masked assassin wasn't a rookie. Not only did he perfectly dodge her counterattack, but he also pulled out a gun. Just when she thought she had no strength to fight back, a gunshot rang out. A mysterious man suddenly appeared and without hesitation shot the masked assassin dead. Still shaken, Li Yuan loudly demanded, "Who are you?" The man smirked with disdain and casually replied, "You've forgotten me? I'm your husband." Li Yuan, stunned by the handsome man who seemed to fall from the sky, blushed and, without hesitation, threw herself into his arms. The man, looking flustered, asked, "You believe me just like that? Don't you even doubt it?" Li Yuan, her eyes sparkling, gazed up at him and said, "Of course I believe you. How could someone as handsome as you lie to me?" But inside she was breaking out in cold sweat, thinking, "I want to doubt you, but you're holding a gun." In the next second, Li Yuan collapsed into the man's arms from the searing pain of her wounds. Before losing consciousness, she still managed to cheekily say, "Help me out, hubby, I'll be a good girl and listen to you." After all, she was completely alone now with no one to rely on. The man didn't seem hostile. Depending on him for now might not be such a bad idea. But her soft-spoken, "I'll be a good girl," unexpectedly triggered something in the man's mind, pulling him into a wave of memories. In his memory, she stood defiantly. "Gu Xingye, who am I to you? Why should I listen to you? Get out of my way or I can't promise what I'll do. From now on, you go your way and I'll go mine. We owe each other nothing." Snapping out of the flashback, Gu Xingye stared blankly at the fragile woman in his arms. Then, without warning, he raised his gun and pointed it at Li Yuan's forehead. "I won't believe you a second time. After all, only the dead know how to obey." But the shot didn't hit her. Instead, the bullet struck a masked assassin who had tried to ambush them. Gu Xingye coolly blew the smoke from his barrel. "Bold move. Trying to sneak up on me." As the assassin fell, Gu Xingye's men arrived on the scene. Without hesitation, he ordered, "Clean this up. Take that guy back, we're going to get some answers." Just then, one of Gu Xingye's men spotted Li Yuan unconscious on the ground. Enraged, he stepped forward and volunteered, "Boss, let me finish off this venomous woman myself." But Gu Xingye immediately stopped him, voice cold, "Don't touch her. I still have use for this woman." The subordinate looked at him in disbelief. "Boss, she injured most of our men." Gu Xingye's lips parted slightly. "I said don't touch her. Don't make me repeat myself." The next morning, Li Yuan jolted awake from a chaotic nightmare. Seeing that she was unharmed, she breathed a sigh of relief. She had made the right bet. The man didn't mean her harm. "Good morning, wifey." A familiar voice rang out. She turned around and the view made her blood rush. What? I really have such a ridiculously handsome husband. Instantly slipping into fangirl mode, she cooed, "Good morning, hubby, wearing so little. Aren't you cold?" The man suddenly leaned in, his cool breath brushing against her skin. "Wife, have you remembered anything today?" Li Yuan lowered her head awkwardly and replied softly, "And not just you, I can't even remember my own name. I'm sorry." The next second, the man gently caressed Li Yuan's cheek, his touch tender enough to steal a breath. "Your name is Li Yuan. You're my wife and I'm your husband, Gu Xingye." A teasing smile tugged at his lips. "You're not going to dislike this bargain bin husband of yours, are you?" Li Yuan blushed hard, lowering her head, too shy to meet his gaze. But just then the pain from her torn wound flared up again. Gu Xingye noticed her discomfort and asked softly, "Still hurting?" "The doctor hasn't arrived yet. How about I treat it for you first? As he spoke, his hands settled gently on her shoulders. Li Yuan tensed up, her whole body stiff. Are you sure we shouldn't wait for the doctor? She asked shyly. Gu Xingye chuckled, his voice full of familiar affection. Don't be nervous. We're already husband and wife. That tattoo on your back. I inked it myself. I know every inch of your body. This isn't our first time. It won't hurt. He slowly loosened her clothing, his fingers brushing more and more of her bare skin, each touch deliberate yet gentle. Even if it wasn't their first time, Li Yuan found herself too flustered to speak. Was it because of her amnesia? She mumbled under her breath, almost without realizing, "You liar." Hearing that, the man gently bit her earlobe, whispering as he traced it with his lips. What's wrong? Why are you calling me a liar? Did you remember something? Though his voice was soft, there was a hint of probing beneath the tenderness. So this whole treatment was just an excuse to test her. Amid the hazy intimacy, a trace of clarity returned to Li Yuan's eyes. Thinking fast, she switched tone in an instant, feigning innocence. Nope, I didn't remember anything. But that doesn't stop your 8-pack from giving me some medical care. So, are you done or not? You promised to treat my wound, not flirt with me all day. Li Yuan could clearly sense it now. This whole treatment pretense was a ruse. He was testing her. And for now, she had no choice but to play along. Even with no memories, her muscle memory whispered to her. This man might not be dangerous for now, but trust should never come easily. After the wound was tended to, the two of them sat down at the table for breakfast. Gu Xingye continued playing the loving husband, personally feeding Li Yuan bite by bite. On the surface, Li Yuan appeared flustered and shy, but in truth she was being swept away by his tender act. Still, something felt off. Her utensils were plastic. And Gu Xingye's two subordinates were glaring at her like she was the enemy. She decided to test the waters, reaching out casually for Gu Xingye's metal knife. As she expected, the man's expression instantly tensed, and the two subordinates immediately shifted into defensive stances. Li Yuan quickly adjusted her tone and flashed a sweet smile. My knife can't even cut the meat. Can I borrow yours, hubby? Gu Xingye went quiet. The air between them grew stiff. Then he calmly replied, My apologies, dear. That was careless of me. I should have cut your food beforehand. Li Yuan smiled back, playing her role to perfection, but deep down the truth was clear. This man was definitely not her husband. If he were just an enemy, she wouldn't still be alive. The real question now was, what exactly did this man want from her? Just as Li Yuan was deep in thought, a thunderous explosion shattered the window, sending a wave of force crashing toward them. Gu Xingye moved like lightning, shielding Li Yuan behind him with his body. His men were already locked in a fierce firefight with the intruders. Meanwhile, Li Yuan gripped the small knife she had just managed to sneak. If she could just plunge it into Gu Xingye, she might escape in the chaos. But would it really be worth it? She had no safe place to run. No one waiting for her outside. Another blast roared. Without hesitation, Gu Xingye shielded her again, his muscular frame blocking all harm. Li Yuan looked up at him. Blood stained his arm. Alarmed, she asked, You're hurt. But he brushed it off with a roguish smirk. It's nothing. Just a scratch. Why would a man she supposedly had no ties to risk everything to protect her? Could he really be her lover? Just then a loud voice rang out from outside. A pink-haired woman stood on a tree, gun in hand. Li Yuan. I know you're in there. Get your ass out here now. Without waiting, she opened fire on the house in a wild barrage. But something about the attack felt wrong. The bullets were rubber. If they really meant to kill her, why use rubber rounds? Was this another one of Gu Xingye's tests? One of the pink-haired woman's men tugged her arm. Time to fall back. Gu Xingye's guys are coming. She clenched her jaw. Damn it. Fine. Retreat. The group sprinted away, panting and breathless. One of the men asked, Why did we risk so much for this? You idiot, the pink-haired woman snapped. We did it for the boss. He's still trapped in Gu Xingye's place. Chaos was the only shot we had to break him out. It turned out the pink-haired woman was once Li Yuan's most loyal subordinate. Li Yuan had rescued her from abuse, destroyed everyone who had ever humiliated her, and taken her in teaching her how to become strong and never be at anyone's mercy again. A leader like her would never fall so easily. Gu Xingye must have tricked her. I have to get her out, she vowed. Meanwhile, Li Yuan was tending to Gu Xingye's wound with great care. But as she worked, she noticed an old scar beneath his tattoo, and for a moment she was completely lost in thought. Gu Xingye immediately caught on to her change in expression. What is it? Fascinated by my scar. The casual tone couldn't hide the subtle probing underneath. Snapping out of it, Li Yuan quickly plastered on a coy smile. Nope, just admiring my handsome hubby's perfect body. Seeing he couldn't get anything out of her, Gu Xingye simply suggested they go change. A moment later they entered the walk-in closet. Li Yuan's mind raced. If they really were married, there should be traces of her here. But when she opened the wardrobe, she froze. Hanging inside were school uniforms clearly too young for her, along with overly cutesy short skirts she would never be caught dead wearing. Even more shocking, on the other side was a lineup of seductive lingerie in every imaginable style. What the hell? This guy's tastes are seriously messed up, she thought, flustered. Leaning lazily against the doorframe, Gu Xingye eyed her panic with amusement. So, remember anything, sweetheart? Remember what? Li Yuan blinka, confusa. He smirked. That outfit holds our most cherished memory. Our very first time. Turns out, when Gu Xingye mentioned their most precious memory, he wasn't referring to the risque lingerie, but to the white t-shirt Li Yuan had once picked out for him during a childhood shopping trip. It was the very first piece of clothing she had ever given him, and his first ever gift from anyone. Unfortunately, Li Yuan thought he was talking about the barely there lingerie hanging in front of her. When Gu Xingye realized the misunderstanding, he broke into an awkward cold sweat. Quickly, he tried to explain, this place isn't where we usually stay. It's just a safer villa on the outskirts. I told my guys to stock the wardrobe, that's all. He swiftly changed the subject. Anyway, let me check your hand. But just as he leaned in to check the wound, he suddenly kissed her. One thing led to another, and before long the two were wrapped up in each other, forgetting everything else. Meanwhile, a poor subordinate had arrived to deliver a message, just wanting to say the doctor was here. Instead, he walked right into the heat of the moment, got a deadly glare from Gu Xingye, and unwillingly became a third wheel in their romance. The scene shifted. In the study, the doctor sat solemnly, reviewing Li Yuan's condition. Luckily, it's not too serious. With luck, she could regain her memory in 6 months. At most, a year or 2. But to Li Yuan that sounded way too long. Could she really survive that long under Gu Xingye's roof? After the doctor left, Gu Xingye's face turned dark, his mood visibly sinking. Li Yuan, sensing something off, kept a careful eye on him while pretending to look away. Then she saw it. Something suspicious was going on between Gu Xingye and the doctor. The doctor handed him a small, unmarked bottle of pills. No label, no instructions. Just black and ominous. Li Yuan quickly pretended to stumble in by chance. Hey, what were you two talking about? To her surprise, Gu Xingye didn't even try to hide it. He handed her the bottle directly. Doctor says it helps with memory recovery. Nourishes the brain. Try one. A pill with no label? Li Yuan struggled to keep her expression neutral. In her eyes, Gu Xingye was no longer a charming protector, but a walking nightmare. Still, she composed herself and asked sweetly, if it's just a supplement, why no label? Gu Xingye's face remained unreadable, cold and steady. Then he leaned down, whispering in her ear, did you remember something? Because this is poison. Li Yuan froze, panic rushing through her mind racing for a way out. But Gu Xingye suddenly chuckled. Kidding, sweetheart. Did I scare you? The sudden switch left Li Yuan unsure whether to laugh or run. Come on, I'm your loving husband. How could I ever hurt you? He cooed. True. If he really wanted her dead, he could have done it already. No need for games. Unless he wanted something else. Something crueler. Like turning her into a mindless puppet. The thought made her head pound. Ever since she lost her memory, her instincts felt dulled. But one thing she still trusted, Gu Xingye was dangerous. And she'd have to keep pretending, until the time was right. The scene shifted. Gu Xingye brought Li Yuan downstairs to rest, the atmosphere seemingly more relaxed. Yet his words remained laced with intent. Don't forget to take your medicine. Li Yuan stared at the unmarked bottle, suspicion clouding her face. She made no move to take it. Gu Xingye suddenly leaned in, voice teasing. Still not willing? What, do you want me to feed it to you myself? Before she could react, he picked up the capsule with his lips and leaned in, closing the distance until their breaths were intertwined. Li Yuan's expression froze. She shouted out, pushing him away, desperate to escape. Her fierce resistance made Gu Xingye freeze in place. A sudden flash of memory struck him. Li Yuan once walking away without hesitation, never looking back. His expression twisted. He grabbed her wrists, pinned them above her head and pressed down on her. He bit down on her lips, forcing the capsule into her mouth. But even after the pill was passed, he didn't stop. His kisses deepened, hungrier, exploring her trembling skin. In the struggle, she accidentally strained her wound, crying out in pain. The moment he heard her whimper, Gu Xingye snapped out of it. He released her immediately, whispering, "Sorry. I hurt you." Li Yuan turned her face away, cheeks flushed, eyes burning with a mix of shame and anger. Gu Xingye lowered his gaze, staring at the damp strands of hair clinging to her forehead. "I'm sorry. I remembered something I didn't want to. I lost control. Just get some rest." After uttering his apology, Gu Xingye quietly turned and left, leaving Li Yuan alone in the room, her expression dazed. She gently pressed her lips together. The heat of his kiss still lingered, vivid and unshakable. Things had already escalated so far. Yet he stopped simply because of her injury. She whispered to herself, "What exactly happened between me and him in the past?" That day, amid an unexpected ambush, Li Yuan accidentally overheard a shocking secret from one of the underlings. She had once betrayed Gu Xingye. No wonder his every glance held a strange mix of restraint and resentment. Gu Xingye wasn't the kind to forgive betrayal. If that was true, wasn't she already doomed? Seizing the moment, Li Yuan blurted out, "Wait, did I cheat on him? I mean, look at him. With such a handsome husband, why would I even consider it? Unless I got bored of fine dining and wanted to try some street food," she thought absurdly. But just then the next subordinate in the investigation line walked in. Li Yuan knew this wasn't the right time to ask more, so she held back, planning to dig for answers later. Yet the questioning felt like a bad joke. One guy was packing his luggage, the next was apparently mid-diarrhea. They all knew the security cams in the public area had already been destroyed. There was no hard evidence to fall back on. Seeing the investigation go nowhere, Hu Juanza called it a day. "Big sis, make sure to rest well." Li Yuan saw her chance. Just as she was about to press for details about her so-called infidelity, Hu Juanza darted off like a rabbit, fleeing the scene faster than she could open her mouth. That evening, as soon as Gu Xingye walked into the house, he was greeted by a chaotic kitchen full of smoke and aroma. From behind the stove, Li Yuan peeked out, smiling brightly. "You're back." She proudly brought over a plate of sweet and sour ribs and offered, "Try it. I made it myself." Gu Xingye looked around the disaster zone that used to be a kitchen and immediately thought, was this another assassination attempt? And this plate of ribs, was it some strange new method of disposing of a body? But Li Yuan's eyes sparkled with innocent pride, clearly waiting for praise. Wiping sweat from his forehead, Gu Xingye hesitated, then reluctantly picked up a rib. He brought it to his mouth and took a cautious bite. He chewed slowly, then swallowed. Li Yuan eagerly leaned in, eyes wide with anticipation. "So, how is it?" His gaze darkened slightly as if stirred by a hidden memory. He licked his fingers and murmured, "It's delicious." Li Yuan beamed and was about to ask another question. But Gu Xingye suddenly leaned in close, his breath brushing her ear. "It's really good. Make it for me again next time, okay?" Before she could reply, he gently tapped her head. "Get some rest. I've got things to do." Once he left, Li Yuan sat back at the table, lost in thought. She picked up a rib and took a bite, but the sweetness now tasted strangely bitter. "Gu Xingye, what exactly did I do to betray you, that you still choose to protect me like this?" After leaving the room, Gu Xingye quietly entered a hidden chamber. Inside was the assassin who had attempted to kill Li Yuan at the hospital. "Still no progress?" he asked coldly. Hu Juanza replied, "No, boss. He refuses to say who sent him." Gu Xingye stared at the man icily. "You really think staying silent will save you? that your organization will protect you. You have 1 day to reconsider. Junsa, let's go. Without another word, the two men turned and left the room. But not long after, a pair of silent footsteps crept into the supposedly empty chamber. A shadowy figure muttered, "So this is where they've hidden you. Don't blame me, just doing what my employer paid me for." Blade in hand, the traitor stepped toward the bound assassin. But as he drove the knife forward, his eyes widened in shock. It was a dummy. A decoy. Behind him, Gu Xingye's voice echoed like a phantom. Too bad. The real assassin was relocated to safety long ago. So that's why you tried to kill Li Yuan on sight. You were the one hiding in plain sight. Tell me who's behind it, or you won't leave this place alive. The traitor, shaking, finally blurted out, It was Liao, the boss of the Qilin syndicate. Outside Hujuanza frowned. We're letting him go? Isn't that too dangerous? Gu Xingye's voice turned cold. I never let betrayal slide. And neither will Liao. He might have taken the money, but whether he'll live long enough to spend it, that's another story. Meanwhile, Li Yuan was still tangled in thoughts about her complicated relationship with Gu Xingye. Suddenly, a sharp pain pierced her head. It felt like her skull was splitting open. Her vision blurred, and an eerie hallucination of Gu Xingye appeared before her, eyes cold and distant. Just as she was about to lose herself in the illusion, a loud commotion downstairs jolted her back to reality. Boss isn't home, miss. Please leave. A subordinate tried to block the way. Out of my way. How dare you stop me? A woman barked back. In the scuffle, the short-haired woman caught sight of Li Yuan upstairs. She froze, then whipped her head around and glared daggers at her. Not wanting to escalate things, Li Yuan put on a polite smile and held up a bag of chips. Hi miss, want some chips? That one word, miss, made the short-haired woman completely explode. You little tramp. Did you just call me miss? You're older than me by exactly 1 year, 4 months, 21 days, 11 hours and 40 minutes. Li Yuan blinked, genuinely confused. Why are you getting so worked up? The woman sneered. Still pretending, huh? Listen up. I'm Ding Liang, Gu Xingye's official girlfriend. So get out of this house, you shameless mistress. Meanwhile, Gu Xingye was in the study discussing business with the head of the Qilin syndicate, who also happened to be Ding Liang's father. Liang's been visiting often lately. I hope she hasn't been too much trouble. Gu Xingye remained composed. It's fine. I've already brought Li Yuan back home. The elder man raised an eyebrow. And your reason for doing that? Gu Xingye's tone was frigid. I have no feelings for her. Keeping her here is strictly for revenge, and to reclaim the 4-symbol seal she took from the syndicate. Meanwhile, upstairs, Li Yuan heard nearly the exact same words, this time from Ding Liang herself. As expected, Gu Xingye had ulterior motives. Keeping her close wasn't about love. It was all part of a bigger plan. Ding Liang continued smugly, unaware that she was being expertly manipulated into spilling more intel. Li Yuan suddenly smirked, voice deliberately provocative. You're the official girlfriend, right? Then, have you ever slept with him? Ding Liang blinked, stunned. What the hell are you saying? That's none of your business. Oh, sounds like you don't know much. Still calling yourself the official girlfriend? I bet you don't even know why I'm the one living here. Pushed to her limit, Ding Liang snapped. Who says I don't know? You and Xingye are mortal enemies. The only reason he's kept you alive is because you've got something he needs. Mortal enemies? Something important? Li Yuan latched onto the key phrases. And Ding Liang kept going. You think pretending to have amnesia wipes the slate clean? You nearly killed him with that slash. You shattered his collarbone. The doctor said 1 inch deeper and he'd have died on the spot. So, that scar on Gu Xingye's chest, it was from her? What had she done? Why couldn't she remember any of it? Was I really that kind of person? Li Yuan's thoughts spiraled, lost between guilt and confusion. But one thought now cut through it all like a blade. I need to get out of here. Fast. This place is far too dangerous. Realizing the truth, Li Yuan rushed back to her room to pack her things and leave this dangerous place. But just as she began, Gu Xingye suddenly burst in. Watching her hurried movements, he asked in a low voice, Where are you going? Your girlfriend told me to get out, she replied coolly. So I'm doing just that. Gu Xingye frowned. Girlfriend? I don't have a girlfriend. Ding, lying. She claimed she's your official partner. She's the daughter of the syndicate leader. We know each other, that's all. Even with my memory loss, Li Yuan said while packing, I'm not interested in your messy love life. Since I'm just one of many, you won't miss me. Her words hit him hard. He slumped down in front of her like a scolded puppy. You can't leave. Li Yuan stepped closer, voice steady. You say you're protecting me, but all you've done is lock me away. Why don't we stop pretending and speak the truth? She touched the scar on his chest. Did I give you this wound? Gu Xingye forced a grin. Who told you that? Stop denying it. You hate me, don't you? He turned away, ears flushed red, voice almost a whisper. No. I don't hate you. Still lying. Li Yuan leaned closer, voice sultry. Then why is your body being more honest than your mouth? You treat me like a caged canary, feeding your need for control. You enjoy this, don't you? Gu Xingye lowered his gaze, flustered and ashamed. It's not like that. I just wanted to protect you. Protect me. Li Yuan tilted her head mockingly. Feeding me unlabeled pills, posting armed guards to watch my every move. If you were me, would you believe that's protection? Gu Xingye looked at her helplessly. Then what do you want? Let me go. Her words were sharp, final. She ignored the flicker of pain in his eyes. The tension in the air finally snapped. Li Yuan suddenly lunged and grabbed the gun from his waistband. She pointed it at her own head. Say yes, or I'll end it right now. Gu Xingye panicked, rushing to take the gun back. Don't. Put it down, please. But Li Yuan's gaze was icy, determined. Realizing she wouldn't back down, he gave in. Fine, but only if you promise me one thing. Li Yuan, who had just started to relax, immediately stiffened again. So there was his real demand. But all he said was, promise me that you'll protect yourself. I'll be here waiting for you. The scene shifted. Li Yuan stood at the front door, luggage in hand. She looked back once, eyes calm. Sorry, Gu Xingye, but I won't return to this beautiful cage again. Without looking back, Li Yuan stepped on the gas and drove off toward the freedom she longed for. Yet for some reason her chest felt heavy. She couldn't stop thinking about the look in Gu Xingye's eyes when she left. Gentle, sorrowful, and full of something she couldn't quite name. And just as her mind drifted, a massive truck suddenly veered into her lane at high speed. She turned the wheel sharply, trying to dodge, but the car spun out of control and slammed into the roadside barrier. Smoke hissed from the hood. From the stopped truck, 3 armed men jumped down and began walking toward her. Blood streamed down her face as she lay against the airbag, dazed and barely conscious. The people assigned to monitor the villa had no clue Li Yuan had slipped out, and this ambush? It wasn't Gu Xingye's style. Which could only mean one thing: there's a traitor inside. One of the assassins raised his gun, preparing to finish the job. But just as he took aim, bang! His head exploded in a burst of red mist. A figure stepped into view, someone unfamiliar, and yet eerily familiar. He smiled at her through the broken window. Hey Li Yuan. Long time no see. Not long after Li Yuan left, one of Gu Xingye's men spoke up, worried. Boss, letting her go like that? She's got too many enemies. What if something happens to her? Gu Xingye remained composed. I've already released word that the 4-symbol seal is in her hands. If she dies, that seal dies with her. His voice dropped coldly. Even if she's taken, I can get her back, unless it's that lunatic. What he didn't know was, Li Yuan had already fallen into that very lunatic's hands. The white-haired man lived up to his name. Grinning ear to ear, he boasted, "Those guys who attacked you? Don't worry, I took care of them for you." He waved his bloodied gun like he was showing off a new toy, unbothered by the carnage he caused. Li Yuan couldn't help but wonder, how did she even know a psycho like this? But for now, she forced herself to act calm, pretending familiarity. Still, her stiff smile didn't fool him. He stepped closer, voice soft and eerie. Yuan, you seem different. Did the crash mess up your memory? His smile darkened. If you've forgotten me, that would really hurt. A Yuan who doesn't remember me has no purpose. Li Yuan forced a light tone, though her lungs burned with tension. I didn't lose my memory. Her fingers crept toward a shard of glass nearby. Without warning, she plunged it into his shoulder. As he recoiled, she stumbled out of the vehicle and ran. But she didn't get far. A shot rang out and she collapsed. The white-haired man appeared behind her like a phantom. That's the Yuan I remember. Too bad you still forget the most important rule. Always go for the kill. But hey, we haven't had fun in ages. Why don't we go to my place and catch up? Li Yuan blinked, realizing the bullet that hit her wasn't lethal. It was rubber. Her earlier attack, however, had been real and vicious. Yet he still chuckled, holding his shoulder. Yuan, I may be cold-blooded, but even you hit harder than I expected. As he spoke, Li Yuan's mind turned. This madman clearly knew her. Maybe he had information she desperately needed. If she couldn't escape now, then maybe she should play along and go with him. So the two of them got into the car and began the drive home. On the way, the white-haired man kept tossing teasing jabs at Li Yuan. Some playful, some downright disturbing. She replied carefully, walking a tightrope between politeness and self-preservation. From what Ding Liang had revealed, Li Yuan had pieced together an image of her former self. Ruthless, sharp, and dangerous. As long as this lunatic didn't find out she had amnesia, she might be safe. Just then, two familiar figures flashed by outside the window. Hu Juanza. What's he doing here? And that woman next to him, is that his girlfriend? It was none other than the pink-haired woman, Li Yuan's former subordinate. To gather intel on her missing leader, she had deliberately set up a relationship with Gu Xingye's right-hand man, Hu Juanza. Her strategy paid off. Their bond grew stronger with each encounter. And now they were even chatting mouth to mouth, with zero shame. The white-haired man noticed her glance and smirked. See someone you know? Wanna hop out and say hi? Li Yuan quickly declined. He chuckled darkly. Heh, probably for the best. This stretch of road is perfect for body dumping, don't you think? A chill ran down Li Yuan's spine. Was she really safe with the psycho? After all their bickering, the two finally arrived at the white-haired man's home. Once inside, Li Yuan offered to help bandage his wound. While doing so, she noticed his house had a fully equipped medical room and laboratory, definitely not the setup of an ordinary person. Just as she was wondering about his identity, he asked casually, "Wanna take a shower?" That kind of private suggestion delivered so naturally. Could they have really been close? She tested the waters. Is it okay for me to shower here? The white-haired man recoiled in mock horror. Yuan, don't tell me you think I'd spy on you. His exaggerated reaction made her feel awkward, but also strangely relieved. It seemed they were truly just friends before. After some rest, he suddenly said, "Hey, there's something work-related I need to talk to you about." He led her to the lab table. This new formula's tricky. The generic version still needs refining, but for you I'll give it to you cheap. Li Yuan was stunned. So, this lunatic was her partner in pharmaceutical reverse engineering? She took out the bottle Gu Xingye had given her, planning to secretly check what it contained. The white-haired man's eyes lit up. Whoa, nice packaging. Looks like high-profit black market stuff. He eagerly started analyzing it. Moments later, the results came back. Just a formula for nourishing brain cells and aiding memory recovery. As he explained, Li Yuan froze. It really was a memory treatment. Gu Xingye hadn't been trying to hurt her at all. The man scratched his head. This stuff's super niche. No real market value. He glanced at her. Wait, you're not the one taking it, are you? Li Yuan's heart skipped a beat. Crap. Did she just expose herself? She quickly backtracked. What? No, of course not. I was just asking for a friend, that's all. The white-haired man strolled up to a piece of calligraphy hanging on the wall, his voice light but probing. Yuan, do you remember this? You gave it to me. It even has both of our names on it. Li Yuan studied the piece. It did look vaguely familiar and her name was clearly there. She nodded. Yeah, I wrote that. But to her surprise, he suddenly chuckled. The next second, a blade was pressed against her throat. His tone still teasing but now laced with danger. Then tell me, Yuan, what's my name? You've got 3 seconds to back off, she growled, gripping his wrist ready to strike. He threw up his hands, laughing. Hey now, don't get worked up. I just wanted to hear you say my name, that's all. Her skin crawled with goosebumps. She trusted her instincts. Amnesia or not, she probably wouldn't have called him by name anyway. Without another word, she turned on her heel. I'm going to bed. He whined behind her. Don't go, just a little longer? When no sound followed, she glanced back. The white-haired man stood quietly, staring at the calligraphy, his expression far more solemn than usual. Shinjong. She read the signature aloud. Could that be his name? The familiar strokes stirred something inside her. Memories faint but rising. With a soft smile, she turned back and said, Good night, Qianli. Shinjong. A wordplay she used to love. Split apart, the characters formed Qian and Li. His eyes lit up like fireworks. Haha, you remembered. I knew you'd remember eventually. Back in her room, Li Yuan couldn't sleep. She found herself oddly missing the soft bed at Gu Xingye's house. And even his annoyingly tender bedtime service that she used to hate. Suddenly, a loud clang echoed from downstairs, snapping her out of thought. She grabbed a coat and crept down to the basement. To her shock, she found Xing Qianli hunched over a mummified corpse, carefully examining it. The grotesque image struck her like lightning. Painful, buried memories surged back with brutal clarity. She remembered. When she was little, her mother used to wait at the door for a father who never came home. One day, her mother fell seriously ill. They had no money. Li Yuan went out alone to find medicine. After a long, grueling journey, she got the medicine. But by the time she returned, her mother was sleeping too deeply. Her mother's jaws were clenched tight. She struggled for ages to force the liquid down. As her mother's body grew cold, Li Yuan believed it meant the fever had broken. She stayed by her side for days. Until one day, a group of strangers broke in and said they had to separate her from her mother. Maybe it was the smell. Her mother hadn't bathed in too long. The scent must have drawn them. They tried to take her away. She fought, screamed, bit, but in the end, she was dragged away to a place they called an orphanage. Later, a man appeared and claimed to be a kind stranger. He smiled and said, Child, your mother's been laid to rest. From now on, you'll live with me. He gestured to the boy at his feet. This is my nephew. You'll be family now. The little boy standing beside him looked painfully familiar. And in that moment, Li Yuan realized. It was Gu Xingye. Gu Xingye. Li Yuan gasped as she jolted awake from the dream, drenched in sweat. Calling another man's name in my bed. So cruel, Yuan. She turned sharply. Xing Qianli sat beside her, smirking. What are you doing here? You fainted by the basement door last night, he replied with a grin. I carried you back. Do you like my collection? Li Yuan ignored the sarcasm. Do you know if there's any island nearby, one that's full of pink cherry blossoms? In her dream just now, she had been a child, sitting under a sea of cherry petals with Gu Xingye. Together, they buried a large time capsule beneath the tree. You can't open it yet, he told her with a grin. We'll open it together, 10 years from now. She reached out her tiny pinky for a promise. But Gu Xingye had asked first, 10 years later, will you still sit here with me like this? And she'd smiled brightly. Of course, we'll be just like now. But the dream twisted, her face suddenly turned cruel. She raised a blade and slashed it at the man who dared block her path. Xing Qianli, unaware of her internal storm, simply shrugged. No clue about the island. But I can help you ask around. Li Yuan stood up, her voice calm but resolute. No need. I'll find it on my own. Not long after, Li Yuan arrived at the harbor. She approached a boatman and asked directly, Do you know if there's an island nearby, one covered in cherry blossoms? The boatman thought for a moment. Sounds like Hongba Island. The cherry trees there are famous. Her heart stirred. Under one of those trees, she and Gu Xingye had buried their time capsule. Maybe, just maybe, her memories were waiting there. As she boarded the boat, a mysterious figure in a hat quietly stepped aboard behind her. Almost instantly, Li Yuan sensed something was off. That figure, something about him felt hauntingly familiar. Her unease peaked when the captain suddenly turned around, his expression cold and calculating. Then a group of burly men stormed in. Come with us, pretty lady. Someone's been dying to meet you. Realizing it was a setup, Li Yuan slowly removed her sunglasses, gaze turning icy. She drew her hidden weapon, smirking. Come with you. I think I'll be sending you off instead. A few sharp shots rang out. Bodies dropped. But just as she exhaled, a cold barrel pressed against the back of her head. The captain chuckled. No bullets left, huh? Yet before he could savor his triumph, his head was met with a gun barrel too. The three of them froze, caught in a perfect standoff. The mysterious man finally spoke. Drop your weapon. Tell your men to stand down. The captain sneered. You think you two can take on 10 of us? But then the man removed his hat. And Li Yuan's eyes widened. The one who had followed her all this time was Gu Xingye. Gu Xingye's voice was ice cold. I brought enough bullets today to take you all out. If you want to live, leave. Now. Li Yuan couldn't believe it herself. Though they'd only been apart for a day, she actually missed the sight of his face. The attackers still looked reluctant. But under Gu Xingye's threat, they begrudgingly retreated on a small boat. You're letting them go? That's not your style, Li Yuan said, frowning. He gave her a sideways glance. So what? I should have killed them all. Including you. Then he added dryly, you're quite the hot commodity now. Whole world's after you. I bet they never dreamed the prize would walk right up to them. His tone made her roll her eyes. I was just trying to reach an island, she muttered. Heard this was the only port that could get me there. I didn't think I'd really board a pirate ship. It's a beautiful place. Full of pink blossoms. And her words trailed off. She turned, staring intently at Gu Xingye. He avoided her gaze, but his silence said everything, she remembered. You don't hate me? She asked quietly. I slashed you. Took something from you. You could have forced me into submission, but instead you tried to win me over. But that's not efficient. Gu Xingye didn't reply. He gazed into the sunset, the golden light casting shadows across his face, revealing a flicker of sorrow. In your world, he finally said, is profit the only thing that matters? Yes, Li Yuan answered without hesitation. Then what would you do, if someone betrayed and hurt you? Her voice was firm. I'd get revenge. No matter how far they run, I'd find them and make them pay. And if you were the one who betrayed someone? He asked softly. Would you want the same done to you? Actions have consequences, she said. If I chose to do wrong, then I accept the punishment. Gu Xingye's eyes flickered, complex, unreadable. He opened his mouth slightly but said nothing. Suddenly, a thunderous explosion rocked the sea. It was the men they had driven away. Unwilling to give up, they had rigged explosives and blown up the boat. The blast sent Li Yuan flying into the cold, dark ocean. Her body sank quickly, water surging into her lungs, and the world around her faded into black. Just as her consciousness slipped away, a figure swam toward her through the chaos. Warm lips met hers, fresh air passed into her lungs, reviving her inch by inch. When she opened her eyes again, she found herself washed ashore on an unfamiliar island. Injured and dazed, she scanned her surroundings. No sign of Gu Xingye. Nothing looked familiar. This wasn't the boat. This wasn't the harbor. Her memory flickered. That moment in the water hadn't been a dream. It was Gu Xingye. He gave her his breath. Risked everything to save her from drowning. He had shown her nothing but care, patience, and protection. And she had only doubted him. Damn it. I can't remember anything. I've been such a fool, she muttered, biting back tears. For the first time, stranded and alone, Li Yuan felt helpless. But within seconds she forced herself to snap out of it. This isn't the time to fall apart. First, survive. She got to her feet, wincing with every step. I need water. Food. Shelter. As she pushed through the forest, something caught her eye up ahead. A small vine-covered wooden cabin stood quietly in the heart of the jungle. Her breath hitched. It looked exactly like the one from her dream. Could this really be Hongbo Island? Meanwhile, the thugs who had bombed the boat returned triumphantly to shore. Their leader swaggered about, laughing loudly. Finally, that crazy bitch Li Yuan went down. I nailed her. He pulled out his phone, excited to report the victory to his boss. But no matter how many times he dialed, the call wouldn't go through. No signal, no tone, nothing. Then a strange feeling crept over him. His limbs were stiff. He couldn't move. Panic gripped him as he turned. His men, all unconscious on the ground, and sitting silently at the bow of the boat, was a man who looked like a ghost. The figure spoke calmly, almost amused. Relax. Just a little drug. You'll wake up, eventually. Xing Qianli rose, each step toward the thug filled with bone-chilling menace. Now, tell me. Where's Li Yuan? The man's face turned pale as paper. You. Xing Qianli sneered. You think you could kill her? He leaned in close, voice low and dangerous. You owe me one more favor now, for my Yuan. Elsewhere, Li Yuan stepped into the small wooden cabin. Though no one was inside, an eerie sense of familiarity washed over her. Every corner, every item in the room felt like it bore her presence, like echoes of a forgotten life. Her eyes landed on an old television in the corner. She picked up a dusty VHS tape beside it and slid it in. The screen flickered to life, and there was young Gu Xingye, wearing a pink dress. He looked adorable, childishly laughing as they played together. Their adoptive uncle stood nearby, smiling warmly as he watched them. The scene was so peaceful, so pure, that tears streamed down Li Yuan's face before she even realized. At the end of the video, little Gu Xingye mentioned the time capsule they buried under the tree in the backyard. That snapped her back to reality. She rushed outside. Dropping to her knees, she began to dig, fingers clawing through the earth despite scrapes and blood. At last, 2 sealed capsules emerged from the dirt. Her heart pounding, she opened the first one. Inside was a faded photograph. A family of 3 smiling together, her, Gu Xingye, and the man who had raised them. There was also a handwritten letter by Gu Xingye, clumsy and childish. He promised to grow tall and marry her one day. The words were messy but painfully sincere. Li Yuan burst into tears. Gu Xingye, are you really gone? Steeling herself, she opened the second capsule. What she saw inside made her gasp in shock. The 4-symbol seal, the very artifact the underground world had gone mad over, was inside this capsule from their childhood. Who put it here? And why? Just then, a familiar voice rang out behind her. Yuan, I knew it, you're still alive. Xing Qianli emerged from the shadows, smirking. You had me worried. I almost thought you and Gu Xingye got eaten alive by fish. Li Yuan froze. Xing Qianli. How did he get here? His eyes quickly locked on the time capsule in her arms, and his lips curled into a sneer. Don't tell me you're really getting sentimental over that thing. The Li Yuan I know isn't this soft. You've been acting different lately. Her heart pounded. He can't find out about the 4-symbol seal. Casually, she began fixing her hair, slipping the seal into the bun with practiced ease. Her voice stayed cool. What are you doing here? Were you following me? Xing Qianli chuckled. Follow you? I was worried. Your corpse was supposed to be mummified and displayed. Would have been a shame if the fish had ruined the look. Then his tone shifted, darker. Just like Gu Xingye, he got torn up real bad. Might as well bury him in that hole you just dug. The moment Gu Xingye's name left his mouth, Li Yuan's expression changed drastically. What? You saw him? Where is he? Is he okay? Xing Qianli's twisted smile never faltered. Watching her panic seemed to thrill him. He's dead, he said breezily. He pointed lazily to the side. There. His body's over there. Li Yuan turned and her blood ran cold. There he was, Gu Xingye. Bloodied. Broken. Barely breathing. Lying in the grass like a shattered ghost. Cut to Gu Xingye now inside the cabin's bedroom. The coldness had vanished from Li Yuan's eyes, replaced by tender concern. Groaning softly, Gu Xingye slowly opened his eyes. To his surprise, the first thing he saw was Li Yuan, seated by his bedside, gazing at him with genuine worry. A bright smile broke across his face. Li Yuan, you saved me? Without waiting for a response, he pulled her into a tight embrace. I knew it. Deep down you still care. You don't want me to die, do you? But their sugary moment was quickly interrupted by an annoyed voice. Hey! Take your filthy hands off my Yuan. Gu Xingye finally noticed Xing Qianli nearby, and his face darkened instantly. In response, he pulled Li Yuan closer as if to say mine. Li Yuan's face turned crimson. Being this close to Gu Xingye's bare chest was a lot. The tension between the two men spiked. They looked seconds away from a full-blown fight. Li Yuan quickly stepped in. Stop it, both of you. Xing Qianli, he's still injured. Xing Qianli's expression shifted to one of dramatic heartbreak. Yuan, you scolded me. For him? Am I not as important to you? Li Yuan sighed, about to explain, but he cut her off, grinning like a devil. You heard that, Gu Xingye? She said I'm the most important. Li Yuan could only rub her temples. There was no winning here. Xing Qianli added with a smirk. You do realize I've been by her side this whole past year? I'm her top partner. Gu Xingye scoffed. A partner can be replaced. 1 year. That doesn't even match the start of what she and I have. That lit a fire under Xing Qianli. So what? All that time and she still left you. Gu Xingye glared. She saved me. Xing Qianli raised a brow. Please. That bandage on your leg? My jacket. Gu Xingye looked like he'd just swallowed a roach. Xing Qianli leaned in smugly. What? Grossed out. Go ahead, tear it off if you dare. At that moment, Li Yuan felt strangely conflicted. These two men, both feared and revered in the outside world, were now squabbling like schoolboys over a crush. Gu Xingye, fuming like a child, muttered, Even if you did save me, it's only because Li Yuan told you to. Xing Qianli chuckled. Oh please, you think that's the end of it? Your wound's already infected. No meds here. If your fever spikes tonight, you'll either die or go dumb. And when you do, Yuan and I will dig your grave right out back. Meanwhile, back at the dock, a group of armed men was mobilizing. Bring more firepower. No one leaves that island alive. On the island, Gu Xingye was getting back on his feet. The three continued their bickering as they prepared to evacuate. But then disaster. Xing Qianli's boat was nothing but a pile of smoking wreckage. Worse still, a dozen armed men were advancing rapidly toward them. With no weapons on their side, a frontal fight was suicide. Gu Xingye acted fast. There's a hidden passage under the house. Follow me. Once inside, Xing Qianli grumbled. It's damp and tiny. Yuan, ditch the cripple, we can shoot our way out. Gu Xingye snapped. You want to die, go ahead. Leave her out of it. Without hesitation, he slammed his hand on a switch. Boom. The gate shut. Xing Qianli was sealed outside. Li Yuan turned to him in shock. You've locked him out? Gu Xingye shrugged. Yeah. He was in the way. Besides, I don't think he knows you've lost your memory. Li Yuan's eyes narrowed. Shoo. I haven't told him. That's my weakness. I don't want anyone knowing. Anyone. Gu Xingye's eyes gleamed. He leaned in, gently pressing a kiss to her fingertips, the cellar filled with a slow-burning heat. Then I'll be sure not to tell anyone, he murmured. But just as the tension reached its peak, the assassins finally broke in. But to their surprise, only Gu Xingye was sitting calmly in the center. Their leader sneered. Finally caught you, Gu Xingye. No escape this time. But Gu Xingye smirked, and slammed a hidden switch beside him. Suddenly, massive boulders rained down from above. The intruders had no time to react. Their screams were swallowed under tons of crushing stone. Though Gu Xingye and Li Yuan narrowly escaped again. His wound had split open, blood soaked through his shirt. We need to move. Now, he growled, forcing himself to stand. But as they reached the exit, a figure casually leaned against the door frame. Xing Qianli, perfectly intact, smiled playfully. Yuan looking lively. Guess I can hold off on arranging your funeral. Gu Xingye narrowed his eyes. Pity you survived. The bickering resumed instantly. Li Yuan rolled her eyes. Enough. You can fight later. For now, just get us out of here. But inside, her resolve hardened. Someone had sent killers after them. She would find out who and why. After an exhausting journey, the three finally escaped the island. As soon as they landed, Gu Xingye turned to Li Yuan. Come stay with me. She was about to agree when Xing Qianli blocked her path. Are you serious? What right do you have to invite her? Gu Xingye looked him in the eye. I'm her husband. Then he turned to her, gaze unwavering. Yuan, will you marry me? Li Yuan froze, utterly stunned by the proposal. Don't rush to answer, he added softly. Think it over. Marrying me might just be the smartest move you ever make. After landing, Gu Xingye's subordinates were already waiting to escort him back. Before leaving, he gave Li Yuan one last look. If you decide, come find me anytime. Not to be outdone, Xing Qianli stepped forward. Yuan, come stay with me instead. You'll be safer. But Li Yuan declined politely. I've got something I need to take care of. That night, under cover of darkness, she snuck into Gu Xingye's house. After all, with no allies and danger closing in, keeping the 4-symbol seal near Gu Xingye was the safest choice she had. Just as she finished hiding it, her sharp senses picked up movement. Someone was approaching. Moments later, Gu Xingye and Hu Juanzi entered the house, both instantly sensing something was off. Hu Juanzi raised his gun, ready for a confrontation with an intruder. And out walked Li Yuan wrapped in nothing but a towel, water still dripping from her hair. Mind if I borrow the shower? The room froze. Hu Juanzi's brain completely short-circuited. Face bright red, he bolted out the door at lightning speed, didn't even remember to lower his gun. Once Hu Juanzi made his dramatic exit, the atmosphere shifted. Gu Xingye stepped closer, voice low and measured. All right. Tell me, what are you really after? Li Yuan curled her arms around his neck, her tone playful and sultry. You really don't know what it means for me to show up here, at night? Her lips brushed his ear. Your request earlier today. I've decided to say yes. But she had a condition of her own. I want a grand wedding. A big event means I'll meet more people. More chances to trigger my memories. Until she figured out why her past self hid the 4-symbol seal, she couldn't let Gu Xingye, or anyone, know where it was. The most dangerous place is also the safest. And so far, Gu Xingye had proven worthy of her trust. Gu Xingye, for his part, could sense she was hiding something. But he didn't press. Instead, he gently pulled her close. That's fine. I'll figure it out eventually. As long as you say yes now, that's enough for me. The next morning, Hu Juanzi nearly had a heart attack. Boss, you're seriously marrying her? That she-devil. Gu Xingye's eyes turned cold. Juanzi, watch your mouth. Boss, even if you can forgive the stabbing, what about your uncle? Don't tell me you forgot how the last chairman died. Gu Xingye leaned back, eyes narrowing. My uncle's death might not be as simple as it seemed. Either way, he said firmly, I want an engagement ceremony. And I want it arranged, fast. Loyal employee Hu Juanzi accepted his boss's latest command. Plan a full-scale engagement party. Only problem? He had no idea where to even begin. Desperate, he turned to his girlfriend for help. Little did he know. His sweet girlfriend was actually one of Li Yuan's subordinates, now operating undercover. The moment the call connected, the pink-haired girl's voice turned sugary sweet. Hu Gage calling me this late? Did you miss your row? I need help planning an engagement banquet, for my boss, Hu Juanzi replied awkwardly. He's getting engaged to that amnesiac girlfriend of his. Your boss. Pinky's voice sharpened at once. You mean Gu Xingye? Huh. What's wrong? Hu Juanzi asked, confused. She quickly masked her shock. Nothing. I was just surprised. Thought maybe it was for us. Hu Juanzi flushed. Oh, well, if you wanted to, maybe one day we could. Nope. Focus. She cut him off with faux cheer. I'll handle everything. From dresses to venue, consider it done perfectly. Thanks, you're the best. I was thinking maybe we, click. She'd already hung up. The second the call ended, the sweetness vanished. Her expression turned cold. That bastard, she hissed. He's trying to marry my amnesiac boss? Over my dead body. Gu Xingye, just you wait. A few days later, the big day was approaching. Li Yuan was in the middle of trying on her engagement dress. But something about the stylist assisting her felt wrong. With one swift motion, she yanked off the woman's wig, revealing a familiar head of pink hair. You're not part of this staff. Why are you here? The pink-haired woman smirked. Classic boss. Even with amnesia, still sharp as ever. I'm here to take you away. You can't marry Gu Xingye. There's blood between you two. Outside the dressing room, Gu Xingye frowned. Something felt off. Yuan? Are you done yet? The pink-haired girl leaned in quickly. Our people are waiting. Come on, let's fight our way out. But Li Yuan hesitated. She still didn't remember this woman. Should she trust her, or turn her in? Before she could decide, Gu Xingye picked up on the strange noises coming from inside. He stepped forward and lifted the curtain. Li Yuan darted out in a flash, positioning herself to block the view behind her. With a bashful smile, she said, Nothing, hubby, the dress is just tricky. Can you help me with the back? Gu Xingye leaned in, only to see her bare back almost fully exposed. His expression darkened. Help you? With this dress? It's too revealing. Forget it. Take it off. He moved even closer, voice dripping with teasing heat. Want me to help with that too? Behind the curtain, the pink-haired girl seethed. That perv thinks with his damn lower half. He dares take advantage of my amnesiac boss. That's it. I'm going out there and kicking his. She was just about to storm out. But Li Yuan spotted her shadow just in time. To stop her from blowing her cover, she did the unthinkable. She pulled Gu Xingye down and kissed him. Gu Xingye was completely stunned. Frozen. Speechless. So was the pink-haired girl. Her fury collapsed into disbelief. And then reluctant retreat. Gu Xingye blinked, still dazed. Wait. I think I heard something just now. Li Yuan played it off smoothly. What else? That was the sound of me kissing you, obviously. You even wrinkled my dress. He smirked, leaning close. Then I'll buy it, and you'll wear it for my eyes only. The flirting was in full swing until a subordinate barged in. Boss. Miss Ding is here. She wants to speak with you. Gu Xingye scowled, annoyed. Not now. Tell her I'm busy. But Li Yuan saw an opportunity. If he left, it might give Pinky the chance to escape. She tilted her head casually. Come on, let her in. I'm curious what she wants. Seeing her interest, Gu Xingye finally relented and left the room, unaware that his brief departure was exactly what Li Yuan needed to protect a dangerous secret. Just as Li Yuan approached the room, she heard something through the door, something that stopped her in her tracks. Xingyi, you can't seriously be marrying her. She's your enemy. Have you forgotten? She killed your uncle, the man who raised you like his own son. Li Yuan froze. She killed Gu Xingye's uncle? The very man who had taken her in and treated her kindly? In every fragment of her memory, that man had always been gentle to her, kind, loving like family. So, everything the pink-haired girl said earlier, about the blood feud, was it all true? Her mind began to spiral, memories and doubts surging like a storm. In her mind's eye, she saw herself, running desperately through darkness. Then came a voice, a familiar one, blocking her path. Yuan, come back. I'll find the truth. I'll keep you safe. But she, cold and unfeeling, snapped, Get out of my way. If you leave now, Gu Xingye pleaded, you'll be confirming you killed him. Your innocence day. Face it with me. But her past self was unreachable, blinded by pain, fear, or something worse. And then, in the final flash of memory, she raised a blade and cut him down. In the next moment, Li Yuan jolted awake from her nightmare, drenched in sweat, screaming involuntarily. A strong arm pulled her close. Gu Xingye. It's okay. I'm here. Just a bad dream, he whispered gently. He reached for a nearby bottle of pills. Here, take this. It'll help calm you down. But the sight of the bottle stirred something in her. Memories of how Gu Xingye had once eyed her with suspicion. If she truly had killed his uncle, then his wary, ever-changing behavior made perfect sense. But what about now? Was his tenderness real? Or calculated? When she didn't move, he asked, What are you thinking about? She quickly smiled, deflecting, Just wondering if you'll feed it to me like last time. Until she uncovered his true motives, she couldn't afford to let her guard down. Gu Xingye smirked. Still mad I was too rough last time? Or hoping I'll be gentler tonight? Just as things softened between them, he threw out a casual question. Too casual. You heard what Ding Liang said earlier. You don't want to ask me about it. Li Yuan shrugged, keeping her tone light. I know what she's trying to do. I'm not that easily manipulated. Gu Xingye's gaze sharpened. Good. Never trust anyone. And Li Yuan? She never had. She trusted no one. Only herself.